Welcome to the second video of our C Programming Bootcamp. Now, today, before we start, let me tell you that there will be an attendance form which will be posted in the live chat at the end of the session. So please don't forget to fill the form for attendance. And today we are going to cover the selection statements, also known as conditional statements, and then we are going to cover the iteration statements and then the sequence of statements. And also a little introduction about the functions. Right. So the control functions, the control statements can be mainly divided into three types. So the three types of the control statements are the sequential statements, the branching statements, and the loop statements, right? So loop statements are also known as iteration statements according to the previous slide, and you know it very well. And the branching statements again can be converted into, can be divided into two types, the conditional statements and the unconditional statements. The conditional statements consists of the if else, nested if, is else if ladder, and the switch case, and go to, break, continue, return. And this loop statements consists of the for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Now this in the here, let us see about the conditional statements. Conditional statements are also this part, conditional statements, right? This consists of all these five types. So yes, this if condition, and if it's true, it needs to be performed this, but the statements in this particular curly braces. If else, this is how we are going to write. And where do we use? Okay, if else if, this is the syntax, and nested if, this is the syntax. Okay, now where, and in the switch case, this is the, this is the syntax. Now coming to where do we use these functions? Okay, where do we use these things particularly? So for example, I'm going to show you a program where if it is even, it should print it is an even number. If it is odd, it should print an odd number. Okay, first let me do only the first part. If it is even, it should print an even number. How am I going to do the particular question? How am I going to solve the particular question? So we are going to use that using the conditional statements if case. Okay, so see how I'm going to write the program here. So this is the C++ and source file. Here, let me start writing the program. #include stdio.h. Okay, now I'm going to show you a simple if program. So let me write the documentation part. Right, #include stdio.h. This is the pre-processing statements of the header files, and then we are going to write int main, and then the curly braces. Now we are going to define a constant. Okay, constant a, int a equal to 15 for suppose. Now I have defined the constant 15. 15 is a, okay, let me take an even number first. Let me take an even number. 10 is an even number. What is the logic behind the even number? If the number is, okay, I'm using multi-line command. If the number is divided, if the number is divisible by, if the number is divisible by 2, then we call it as an even number. That is the logic, right? Then we call it as even number. So how do we check whether a number is divisible by 2 or not? Yesterday, I've shown you about an operator, the arithmetic operator modulo, right? I'm using a single line comment in the 7th line. The modulo operator returns, it looks like this, right? This is the modulo operator. Now this particular modulo operator returns the remainder when the first number is divided by the second number. Okay, according to this, the statement in the 6th line, so it should be divided by 2, and if a number is divisible by 2, it means the remainder which is going to give us is 0. For example, when 4 is divided by 2, the remainder is 0. When 6 is divided by 2, the remainder is 0. So when a number is divided by 2 and the remainder is 0, it means the number is an even number. That is the logic behind this. So I'm going to write it as if a, okay, according to the syntax, I'm writing this particular condition. So after if, we are going to write brackets. Now if a modulo 2, as I said you the condition modulo 2 equal to 0, it means it is an even number, then it should print an even number, right? So I'm using the curly braces here according to the syntax, and then I'm going to printf given number is an even number, right? This is the statement it should print if it is an even number. Okay, now we are checking for particular a value, right? So I'm going to save this, Control S. Okay, in the data it is being saved. Simple if, right? It is a C file and save. It is being saved. Yeah, 0 errors and 0 warnings. And then here we are waiting for our result. See, A is an even number, 10 is an even number. So we got it as even number. So this is how we are going to write the statements, right? Now, what is this if case over here? If else case. Now there are two conditions, right? Now we know there are two kinds of numbers. You can say almost all. You can say that almost all positive numbers. Let us give an exception for 0. Almost all positive numbers can be divided into two types, right? The positive numbers. Okay, let me, instead of saying positive numbers, let me say natural numbers. All natural numbers are either even or odd numbers. I guess you know this very well. So if it is not even, it means that is an odd number. Okay. Okay. Let me show you for another test case. Let me write an odd number 5 here. Now let us see what does it print, or does it print at all. Okay. I'm going to save it and I'm going to compile and run it. See, it is not printing anything. It means if there is an odd number, it is not going to print anything. Only if this particular condition that I have written in this brackets adjacent to if, then this satisfies. Then this condition gets executed. Else, it will not get executed. Now, the next case what I'm speaking about is if it is an odd number, it is not printing anything. Now, I want to print that if it is an odd number, I want to print it is an odd number. So all natural numbers are either even or odd, right? So what we can write is, if this condition satisfies, then it is going to print the statement. If it is not going to, then there is only one other case, that it is an odd number. So I don't need to write a condition over here. So just I'm going to write else, right? I don't want to write any condition because all others are odd numbers, right? So according to the syntax, I'm going to write else and then the curly braces here. Then I'm going to write printf. Printf given number is a odd number, right? Semicolon and Control S. I'm going to compile and run it. Okay, given number is an odd number. See, the number is 5. And this particular condition is not being satisfied. So the condition, so according to the else block, this particular statement is getting executed. Okay. Now, instead of writing like this, we can also take input from the user itself. Input from the user. Now, how we are going to take it is, it is a very easy way to take the input and very useful too. Right. Now, first we need to prompt the user that we want to take the value of A from the user. So we are going to write printf statement. And whatever we write inside this double quotes in the printf statement will get directly printed in the result, right? So enter value of A. Okay, enter value of A, and that's it. I want to give a colon here, semicolon. Now I want to take the value of A, right? So this is a statement. I want to take the input from the user. So this is the statement that we're going to use. Scanf. This will take the input from the user. And scanf, just like as we write in printf, this whole thing is same. Again, the double quotes. Now as an in, when we want to print an integer, we are writing a percentage d here, right? In the same way, here also we are going to write percentage d, and that value what we are giving it as an input should save in the value of a. So it needs to understand. So this is how we are going to write the syntax. Ampersand a value should be saved. So see how it gets executed, and once these statements get executed, now this will also work according to the condition given here. If it is divisible by 2, then it is an even number, so this statement will be executed. Else it's not an even number, then this number will get executed. Now I'm saving it, Control S, and now I'm compiling it and running it. See, enter value of a. Now these statements will not get directly executed because we don't know the value of a. So the value of a is, let me write first an even number, okay, 10. So the given number is an even number. Very easy. And again I'm going to run it. Let me give an odd number this time. Okay. Now if this is blinking, it means it is loading and it is trying to run. Right. So enter value of a. I'm going to give an odd number. Let me take the odd number as 15. So the given number is an odd number. Right. So it is in a very easy way we can do these all things. Right. This is about the if and this if and if else cases. Now then next we are going to learn about this if else if. Okay. What is this if else if? You have understood about if condition and else condition. Okay. Now we can also take if else if. What does this mean is, here if condition we have written, and else if we are going to write another condition. Now where can we use this else if condition? Right. I'm going to give you a very small example where we can use this if else if. Okay. So okay, the case I'm going to take here is that you are a student in a school, right? If you get 90 and above percentage, it means you got A grade. If you got 80 and above percentage, and if your percentage lies between 80 and 90, it means you got B grade. And if it is if it is after 70 and 80, it means you got C grade, right? There are two conditions, right? So here there are three conditions. So in this particular condition, we can write if condition for A. See, I'm going to write the program instead of saying it to you here. Okay, a new file, source file, and then for if else if. Okay, so hash include stdio.h int main, and then we know how to take input from the user, right? So let me take input from the user. I'm going to ask enter your percentage, and if I take the percentage from the user, I want to return the grade he got. So enter your percentage, right? Enter your percentage, and once he enters, I need to define a variable where it should be marked. So he is going to give me an integer. So if we got an integer, I'm going to write it as int a. Okay, and here I forgot to write a semicolon. Now I'm going to scanf to take the value from the user, right? So scanf and percentage d, right, and comma, it should save in the value of a, so ampersand a, right? That's fine. Now the percentage from the user is being saved. Now it should be evaluated. Now how should it be evaluated? If a is greater than or equal to 90, means in this case even if he got 90%, it means that he should get A grade, right? So this is how we are going to write A is greater than or equal to 90. This is also an operator. You can check the day one PPT to know which operator this is. This is nothing but a relational operator, right? Now here, if it is greater than or equal to 90, printf, you got A grade. Okay, you got A grade. Else if we are going to write a condition here. Else space if. Okay, the condition here is if we are going to use two conditions over here. Is that A should be greater than or equal to 80, and so for and there are two conditions. It should lie in the range, right? So the two conditions are, we are going to use two conditions. So in this is the logical and operator that I have not explained it to you yesterday. So there is a logical and operator, and if is A is less than 90. Okay, if A is less than 90, it means that it lies in the range of this particular statement lies, this particular percentage lies in the range of 80 and 90. If it is 80 and 90, means from 80 to 89, whatever percentage he types, now this particular statement is going to execute. Now we are going to use curly braces here. Printf, you got B grade. Right, and again semicolon, and else case. In all, let me take for all other cases, he gets a C grade. So I'm going to write it like this. And even if he enters the minus sign, okay, the minus sign is not an ideal thing, but if the person is because of some reason he have typed it in the wrong way, even in that particular case this statement will be printed. Okay, printf, you got C grade. Okay, now I've shown you only the three particular cases. Now we can write hundreds of else if cases. Like again, the other case, what I'm thinking is, the other case what we can write is, now if a particular person got between 70 and 80, okay, 70 and 80, he can get C grade. And if it is less than 40, he should get F grade. In that particular case also, we can write again else case. Now, without writing if, we cannot write else if. Okay. And in the same way, without writing if, we shouldn't write else, because there are no conditions for here. Okay. Now, what is the difference between if and else? Okay. And else if. The difference is that there are only, in this particular program, there are only two kinds of numbers, either even or either odd. Now, in all other cases, what I'm going to say is, in all other, if it is either this particular number, either even or either odd. Now, in this particular case, now he can be an A grade person, he can be a B grade person, he can also be a C grade person. So we cannot directly, without writing a particular condition, because without writing a second condition, we cannot evaluate the particular person. So this is how we are going to write the statement. So I'm going to save this. Now for saving it, the if else if, right, this is a C file. Okay, save. Now this has been saved. I'm going to compile and run it. Enter your percentage. Let me guess, I got 92%. Okay, 92%. You got A grade. So the first statement got executed. The first statement in the if case got executed because it is greater than 90. So let me show you another case. Okay, again compile and run. Let me understand that I got 89%. Means it lies in this particular range. Okay, so 89%. So I'm pressing enter over here. You got B grade. Okay, this is how it works. If this is not working, then this case. Okay, let me assume I got 90%. If it is 90%, it means I belong to this particular category. Greater than or equal to 90, this statement should execute it, should get executed. Now again, I'm executing it. I'm pressing 90 here. You got A grade. That's fine. Now again, let me try for if I got 70%. Okay. 70. You got C grade. So this is how the system works. Okay. Now coming here, Now let me write a negative number of minus 20 for suppose, minus 20. You got C grade. In all other cases, it is going to print C grade. It is, if it will give an error if we don't enter an integer, because we have defined the value of this as integer. Okay, so if we don't give an integer, it will give a false. Else, in all the other cases, it is not going to give a else case. Okay, that's fine. So now I'm going to show you about the nested if. Now what is this nested if? I'm going to show you in this again. Now if in this particular if condition, in the particular if block itself, again we are having the if condition and else block. And again in the else block, again if and else is present. So for this particular question, I'm going to show you a very small example. Now, till now we have taken only one particular number as an input. We can take more than one number as an input too. So it is a very easy syntax, in fact. So okay, it's new source file. Okay, I'm going to show you for nested if, right? So nested if. Right, the documentation part is done, and now the pre-processing statements. Hash include are the header files. Now hash include stdio.h, int main, the curly braces, and now we can take three numbers as an input. Now we are using nested if. We are going to find the maximum of the three numbers, right? So three numbers we are going to define, a, b, and c, which are all three integers, and then I'm going to write printf statement, enter any three numbers. Okay, so after this statement I forgot to write a semicolon, and now then scanf. In the scanf I'm going to write three times percentage d, right? 3 times percentage d, and it's ampersand a, ampersand b. Okay, again I need to write a comma here. Okay, ampersand a, ampersand b, and ampersand c. Okay, and then this thing, right? Now this is fine. We have taken three numbers input from the user. Now for the nested if program, as we have done this, we are going to write if a is greater than b. If a is greater than b, then inside again we have a if block. Okay, now if this particular number is greater than this number and this number, it should satisfy both the conditions, right? Only then a is greater than b and c. So again in the if case, we are going to write it as if a is greater than a, and if a is greater than b, and a is greater than c, it means that a is the greatest number. So that is what we are going to print here. Printf, if only the both conditions satisfy, it is going to come here. Right? Printf, a is the greatest number. Right. After this, a is the greatest number. After this, we are going to write the next part. If a is greater than b. Okay. Now again, here else case. Now a might not be greater than c. So, but still a is greater than b here according to the condition. So here in the printf case, okay, I wrote it in the wrong place. Yeah, printf c is greater, because a is already greater than b. Okay, a is already greater than b. Now a is not greater than c. It means c is greater, right? So that is the reason c is greater. Now how can we, okay, let me show you with an example. Let me take three numbers, 4, 3, and 5. Okay, I'm writing in the comment 4, 3, and 5. Now in this particular case, This is A, 4 is A, B is 3, and C is 5. So in this particular case, A is greater than B, right? And now again, A and C are getting compared, means 4 and 5 are getting compared. In this particular case, what do we need to understand? That 5 is greater. So in this particular statement, now this condition is not getting satisfied. So what will happen? In the else case, the control should come to the else case. Now in the else case, what does it mean? 5 is greater, right? See, here already these two are being compared. Now when these two are compared, we understood that A is greater. When 4 and 5 are getting compared, we understood that C is greater. C or 5 is greater. So this particular condition is getting satisfied. So C is greater number. Okay. So again, after if, now there is condition where now there is a condition where A is not greater than B. A is not greater than B. That is also a condition. So what does it mean? It means B is greater than A. Right? That is a condition here. So again the curly braces. Now what we are going to write? If in else case we are going to print printf. Okay. So else if, first we are going to write else if here. Else if B is greater than C, then it should execute these statements. Okay. If B is greater than C, we have understood that in this particular statement, B is greater than A. We have understood that. Now, if B is greater than C, it means that C is the greatest number. Okay. C is the greatest number. Right. So, sorry, B is the greatest number. So, B is greatest number. In other case means else case, printf C is the greatest number. Okay, semicolon and semicolon, and here also semicolon. Control S. This has been saved. Now, okay, the name of this file should be nested if. Now, why is this nested if? Nested if is nothing but if else condition is written inside another condition, it means it is a nested. Okay, it is nested inside the other. So we call it as nested, right? So here I have saved this file. Now I'm going to compile and run this file. Right. So I enter any three numbers. So I'm going to enter the three numbers. When you are entering the numbers, you are going to give a space between each one of them so that the computer will understand that there are three different numbers. Right. See, 3, 4, 5. Here C is the greatest number. Right. Again, I'm going to give the input as, let me change the input to, let me take A is the greatest number. Okay. 5, 4, 3. Okay. Enter. A is the greatest number. Okay, let me take as B is the greatest number in my inputs. So I'm going to give it as 3, 5, and 4. Right. Right. Enter. B is the greatest number. See, with the simple logics, we can write infinite number of programs like this. Right. With a very much simple logic, there are very many examples in the Google that you can find. So try to keep practicing on how to do these things using this nested if, using just if else, or just using the other cases. You can write many programs. So keep practicing. And now we are going to learn about uh, this switch case. Now, what is this switch case? Now, coming to the switch case, now you have understood that. Where is my program? Nested if. Okay, let me open another file. Yeah, if else if. So this is the if else if dot c. Now here there is only one condition. So I also said you the condition where
he gets between the 70 and he gets between 80 and 70. He will we need to write another else if, right? And again another else if. So how many times will we write else if? So they thought of we need to include another part where it will make our work easier when there are more test cases. When there are more test cases, and these we don't need to add the syntax over here, writing again and again and again. So they thought, why not switch case? So switch case, this is the syntax. Okay, switch case, this is the syntax. Switch expression means that is nothing but the condition, right? Expression, in fact, it is just an expression. In the case one means we need to write a condition over there, and then the break statement. I'm going to tell you about the break statement also that I already mentioned here. Okay, so let me write my C++. So a new file, source file, and my first about the documentation part, that is nothing but switch case, and now hash include stdio.h. Those are pre-processing statements or nothing but header files, and then int main. There are no global declarations, and using the same using the words of my PPT, so it's easier. And these are the terms easy to remember. And now we are going to make local variables. Local variables means these variables can be used only in this particular block. Now, what is local and global variables? I'm going to define, say it to you tomorrow. Now, in this particular int main block, we are going to write switch case, right? So let us assume my program is now whatever I'm going to take input as a letter from as an alphabet from the user, and when the user enters a vowel, he should it should print it is a vowel. Else it should print a consonant. You know it. You know this. I guess you have understood this part. Now, if I need to write if else if or some other part, we need to use five conditions, right? For A, for E, for I, for O, for U, we need to write five times. So instead of using that, we are going to write the condition five times here. But instead, the syntax is a little simplified in switch case. So let me start. As it is an alphabet, we shouldn't write int. So here the data type is character, right? So character data type short form is char. The data type we write it as is char. So char ch. I'm going to define the variable as ch. And now I'm going to prompt the user to print, I mean, enter any character to print the character. I'm asking for the character. So semicolon and then colon. Here colon and here the semicolon. Now scanf. Whatever we need to take the input from the user, we are going to use this thing. So scanf. Now this is not integer, so we are not going to use percentage %d. For this particular thing, we are going to use percentage %c. Right, percentage %c, and it needs to store the value of the ch in the ch, right? So ch value should be stored in ch. So whenever we are going to write ampersand, you need to understand that it is for ampersand means address, right? It is needs to be stored in address. So that is how it is going to be stored. Okay, in that particular address, it is being stored. See, if we are giving a value in the .exe file, okay, that in that particular address needs to be stored. That is the reason we are giving the address where it should be stored, right? Okay, now, so actually when we are writing this program, first you need to understand that it provides a space as ch, and when we are going to give when we are going to give the input in that particular place, in that particular location, it will be saved. Okay, now coming to the switch case part, we are going to write it as switch ch, and now we are going to write brackets case, and in the case that it is given as the input as case as k, here we are going to use single brackets, then we are going to use a colon, then printf. Okay, I want to print a new line. It is a vowel. Okay, right. This is fine. So in the same way, we are going to write it for A, E, I, O, U, five, the five vowels of English language. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it so that my time will not be wasted. So yes, again this 4 and 5. Yeah. Here I'm going to change it as E. Here I'm going to change it as I. Here I'm going to change it as O. And here I'm going to change it as U. You must have understood that whatever these particular cases, it will be printed as it is a vowel. Now after this, it should come out of the switch case. So to come out of the switch case, we use a statement known as break statement. Okay. Now these are whatever I'm using. This case, switch, printer, scanf, char, in, main. These are all the words that the 32 keywords that I shown you in the first day slide. Okay. So again, break. So I should have actually copied it and pasted it before that I've shown you. But okay, fine. Now break again and again break. Right. Now default. Now there is another keyword that you're going to use for default case means instead of all these letters, if it is not I mean A, E, I, O, U, the default case is that it is a consonant, right? So in the default case, we don't need to write a semicolon here. Default case printf, it is a consonant, right? Again a semicolon, and as you know, as I'm writing uh, return 0 and then control S. Okay, now this is switch case, right? So switch case, now it is a C file, so save. It is saved. Very good. Now I'm going to compile and run it. Okay, so yeah, we are going to write the switch ch in brackets. Okay, now control S, compile and run. Okay, I'm going to write a semicolon here. Control S, compile and run. Right. So you have prompted the user to enter any character, right? So we are going to enter the character. Yeah, enter any character. Let me write A. Okay. This particular should be printed. It is a vowel, right? It is printing in a new line. That's the reason this particular line has been not been printed. It is printed in a new line. So this is how we can do. Now let me show you again. Compile and run. Now I'm going to show you for a consonant. Now for a consonant, I'm going to give it as G. It is a consonant. See, if not all these cases, it is going to print the default case. If it is O, it is going to print this. Now let me take just you need to try all the test cases that you can think of. Let me write two letters. Okay, AS. See, it is going to evaluate the first letter only. Now these test cases should be made better. So I guess you have understood this particular part too. Okay, now I'm going to go to the iteration statements. Now, before I go to the iteration statements, let me tell you about this. So, the selection statements, what I've told you till now is selection statements. Okay, so in the selection statements, now these are the three flowcharts. Okay, now I have not said you about anything about the flowchart. Flowchart is a diagrammatical representation of a algorithm. Okay, algorithm is a step-by-step process of the program. Okay, okay, once you get the algorithm, once you are able to write the algorithm, you will be able to write the code or the program in any language you want. Okay, in for here, for example, here we are going to write, first we are going to write the algorithm for the for our program, and then we are going to write the flowchart. If we want, we can write a flowchart, and then we can just go to the coder program. Now I'm trying to tell you the most of the algorithm part in the comments itself. Okay, now here in the selection part, Now, as you know, if in the flow chart, you need to understand that for the statements, we are going to give it as a rectangle. And if it is a decision statement, okay, if it is a decision in the condition statement, then you're going to give it as a rhombus or a square. Okay, like this, we are going to represent it. And if it is starting or a terminal or start the first or the last, for the first and the last, we are going to give it as a circle. And the circle is also used as a connector, means if, a, if in one particular page, if we have completed the space and we want to continue it on the next page. So for that part also, we are going to write it as a connector over there. And again, we are going to start it on the next page. Means the last shape on the left page is also going to be a circle. And the shape on the right page is also going to be a circle. So that is about this, and these arrows represent the flow of the program, right? So here, if it is a true statement, now in the even if else program, you have seen that for even odd, if 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 it is divisible by two, then it is a true statement. So these statements get executed. So it is a rectangle. Now, if it is false, the else statement gets executed. Whatever it is, they both come to the return zero, the end of the system. I mean, end of the program. So that is why it is written here. Now coming to the iteration part. Now iteration part is actually executing the program more than once to give us the proper result. Now, for example, we want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, I'm coming to the iteration part. Now, if we want to print the numbers from 1 to 10, now what will you do? You can't print, you can't write print a statement again from 1, again 2, again 3. We can't write that many number of times, right? That again will be a problem. Okay, how many, even if you want to copy and paste, it is time taking, right? So not 10 numbers, let me take 1,000 numbers. So 100% it is time taking. So some statements should get executed again and again on a particular logic. That is nothing but an iteration statement, logic statement. Okay, so different types of loops. So there are different types of loops. Okay, now the different types of loops are while loop, for loop, do while loop, and nested loop. Okay, so the this I have shown you in that third slide of my, I mean, PPT. Now the while loop is that it repeats a statement or a group of statements while a given condition is true. It tests the condition before executing the loop body. Before executing itself, it is going to test the condition, the while loop. Now coming to the for loop. Okay, it executes a sequence of statements multiple times and abbreviates the code that manages the loop variable. Okay, and this same as while loop, the for loop also it is going to test the condition before executing the loop body. Okay, what is do while loop? Like a while statement, except that it tests the condition at the end of the loop body. Okay, so that is the difference between while loop, for loop, and do while loop. Here, in these both cases, the first the condition is going to be tested, and then the statements are going to be executed. Now here, first it tests the condition at the end of the loop of the body. Okay, so that is the reason these two are called entry control loops, because they are testing the condition at the entry itself. Now this is known as the exit control loop. Exit control loop because it is testing the condition at the end of the loop. So it is exit control loop. Now what is this nested loop? Now we use this nested loops when the, okay, you can use one or more loops inside any another while loop, for loop, or do while loops. Okay. So general usage, so we usually use more for loops and while loops and nested loops when it is required. Okay. So see, as I said you, the entry control loops are for loop and while loop, and the exit control loops are do while loop. So the syntax for the for loop is initialization, condition, and updation. Okay. Now let me write the program for this particular for loop. Okay. So the C++, new new file, source file, and again I'm going to show you for loop. The documentation part is done. Then again, hash include stdio.h. the pre-processing statements or the header files, and then int main, this brackets, and now the curly braces. And now what we are going to do is for loop, right? So first we are going, okay, as the syntax is that for, I have written it over there, but again I'm going to show it here. For initialization, the semicolon here, condition, and again semicolon here, and updation. Okay, what do these statements each mean is I'm going to tell you anyway. Now again, okay, let me first we need to initialize a variable I. Okay, now we generally use I in loops, I or J, or many use any letter you can use, but we usually generally use I. So here I'm going to write my word initialization. Now again we are going to initialize I is equal to 0. Now the semicolon. Now condition. Now condition is that I want to print. Okay, I want to print 1,000 numbers. Okay, 1,000 numbers one after the other. Okay, so I should be less than 1,000, less than or equal to 1,000. Okay, I want to print 1,000, right? So from 1 to 1,000, I want to print. So I equal to 1. So I wrote it like this. And then updation. So the number should get updated. I'm going to tell you about this a little later. Now again, if you see, double plus is also an operator. Nothing but I'm going to tell you. The first operator that we have seen in the yesterday's table. Now it is nothing but it is going to add the value one by one. Now see what I'm going to write is printf, okay, percentage d and I. Okay, so that's fine, semicolon. Now what it is going to do is it is going to print 1 to 1,000 numbers. That is fine. Now how it is going to print and how does the logic work? So I equal to 1. So once the for I equal to 1, this statement is going to get executed. Means 1 is going to print. Now after that, according to this particular updation, the I value will get updated. How much it is going to get updated? Now, if I wrote it like this, it means it is going to get updated by 1. That is how the syntax of the C works. Okay. So I plus plus means this the I value will get updated by 1. Now again when it is getting updated by 1, the value is 2. So again when the value is 2, it is going to check the condition. Now does this say it should stop for 2? No, it does not say it should stop for 2. So again this condition will get, again this particular statement will get executed. Now after that it is going to go for 3. Now this statement is getting satisfied. So this condition is getting satisfied. So again, the statement will be executed. Now it is going to check for 4. Now this goes on until it has reached 1,000. Now once it has reached 1,000, what will it go? It will it will update the value to 1,001. When it is going to update the value of 1,001, it is going to check the condition. When it is going to check the condition, is it less than or equal to 1,000? No, it is greater than 1,000. Then this statement will not get executed. See, now I am going to save it. I haven't saved it yet. So for loop save. So it is saved in as C++ file. It's no problem. We can compile and run it. We'll still get the results. Okay, now this might be a little hard to see. Now I'm going to print every time I'm going to print it in a new line. So if you want to print it in a new line, I'm going to press like this. Okay, so you'll understand easily. Every number will be printed in new line. See, from 1 to 1,000, the numbers have been printed. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, till up to 1,000. Great. Till up to 1,000, it has been printed. And this is how it works. See, till 1,000. When 1,001 happens, I told you what happens. Okay. Now, we have understood the for loop. Now, I'm going to show you about the while loop. Okay. While loop is that while condition. Okay. And the curly braces. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the new source file. Okay, it is a fine. Like this, it is fine. Hash include stdio.h int main and then the curly braces. Now, first, whatever loop we are writing, first we need to initialize a variable I. Okay, so I'm going to write it as while. Now, there is no much syntax. We just need to write the condition in this brackets. Okay, the condition is that the same program I'm going to write for 1000. Okay, for 1000 means still equal to or I mean less than or equal to 1000. Okay, so that is the meaning of this. Now I'm going to enter curly braces again. Means if this particular condition satisfies, then this is going to happen. Okay, now again printf statement. I want to print the number I. Okay, I. Okay, semicolon. Now, actually, now we did not write that the I value should get updated. We are not showing any I value should get updated. So here's how we are going to write it. I plus plus. Okay. So when we write I plus plus, as I said you in the for loop, the I value will get updated one by one, one by one, one by one. So again, this is the condition. This is the updation. The initialization should be done here itself. Before the while loop itself, we should initialize. If we didn't initialize the variable before the while loop, it will assume that the I value is 0. Okay. Now we have initialized the variable I, but we should also give the value of the I value, I variable. See here, I directly gave I equal to 1 here. So it is understood that it will start from 1. So here it will not understand that the I value is 1. It will take the I value is 0. So instead of taking the I value is 0, as I want to print from 1, I'm going to take the I value is 1. So here I'm going to save it. Okay. It is a C file. So dot C first. And then while. So save. Right. Now I'm going to compile and run the file. Okay, I did the same mistake again. For easy checking, we want to print it in a new line. So again, this and this. Now, when we want to print a new line, we are going to use this particular syntax. See, this slash, the slash is different from the other slashes. See, this slash is not this slash. This slash is different. You need to check those front slash or slash, and then you need to write it. So in this particular slash with n, if you're going to print it, it is going to print in a new line. Okay, again, Control S. Now compile and run it. See, it is printing in a new line everything. From 1 to, from 1 to, see, you can check it. And then 1000. So this is how it works. So you have understood the for loops and the while loops. You have understood the entry control loops. So the next thing that you're going to do is exit control loops. The exit control loop is a little different where the condition is going to be checked after the after executing the statements. If it is wrong, it will not get executed. So I'm again going to take a new file, source file, and again while loop, do while loop. The documentation part is done. I'm repeating it so that it will be easily added to your brain. So hash include stdio.h, then int main, then this brackets and the curly braces. And now we are going to write as int I equal to, okay, here for do while loop also we should first initialize. Okay, so int I equal to 1. I'm writing the same program in different loops. Okay, now we are going to write it as do. Okay, we are not going to write any other statement. We are going to write the curly braces, and in the curly braces printf Now I want to print in a new line. I'm not going to do the mistake here. So printf. So I'm going to write percentage %d and then I value should be printed. Okay. Now that is about that. Okay. So I'm going to check the condition here. While, okay, this do will do the work. Okay. Now while we'll check the condition. Okay. While condition I is less than, now the updation should also be given. I forgot of the updation I plus plus. As I said given the for loop and while loop, this will get the value of the I to get updated one by one. Okay. I value is less than or equal to 1000. Right. So again, there should be a semicolon here. So when you observe actually at the end of the for loop and the end of the while loop when we are writing, there are no, we shouldn't write any semicolons there. So the syntax is very much important. And actually, I told you to forgot in simple if else if and all those cases, you shouldn't write a semicolon here when you want when you're writing, not in else case or not in this case. And whatever these statements, what we are writing now, we shouldn't write at the end of the at the end of the line. We shouldn't write a semicolon. Here now, as this particular after the whole iteration statement, then we are going to write this particular semicolon. Okay, now we have understood this part. Now I'm going to save it. This file name is do while. Okay. Do while. It is a C file dot C and save. It has been saved. Now compiling it and running it. See, in the same way it is printing from 1 to 1000, right? From 1 to 1000. Okay. Now you can understand this program very well. Now I'm going to use the nested if else programs. Okay. I mean, nested loops. Okay. What are these nested loops? Day 2. Okay. You have understood these three statements. Now I have said you this part of the flow chart, right? The start, the statements. If it is a statement, then we are going to write it as a rectangle. If it is a decision statement, then it is going to be done in the rhombus or a square, you can call it. Then the body of loop, which is statement. And again, this is a connector. Right? So again, stop, right? So, right. This is the difference between the for loop and while loop. See, for if it is true, then again it is going to do it. Not for loop and while loop. I'm sorry. This is for loop and while loop. This is for the do while loop. Okay. Now flowchart of the while loop and flowchart of the do while loop. Right. You can check them. If it is true, it is going to this, and if it is still true, it is going to do like this. If it is false, it is going to do like this. And in the do while loop, okay, if it is true, it is going to go here. Now, if it is for see till it's true, it is going to check. If it is false, then it is statement just below the loop. Okay, you have understood this part. Now, before I go to this part, now I said you I'll tell you about the nested loops. The nested loops are used to print. Okay, now the example you have understood that nested loop is the loop inside another loop. As it is a loop inside another loop, I'm going to show you nested loop. Right here, I'm going to write hash include stdio.h int main and then this braces, then int I and int j. You can define more than one way, initialize more than one variables here itself. Then for right for I equal to 0, I'm going to print a pattern. Check this pattern. I is uh, less than or equal to 5 and then I plus plus. After writing the whole statements, then I'm going to show you how this pattern works. Now the loop inside another loop, so I'm writing another for loop here. So for j equal to 0, j is less than or equal to 5 again, and j plus plus, right? And again this brackets, curly braces. Now inside this, print, printf. I want to print j, j, j. Yeah. So I'm going to save this. Okay. The file name is nested loop. Okay, in the nested if else case also, it means that the if else is present inside another if. So we call it as nested. Okay, you can in the further applications also you'll get to know about this. Okay, so there are no errors. See, okay, I want to print in a new line. Let me print in a new line. Okay, compiling it and running it. See, this is a pattern, different pattern 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why it is printed this many number of times is that you need to understand that. Okay, so you need to understand that first this particular condition will be satisfied. Okay, once it is, I mean, I is less than 5 is for I equal to 0, it is being printed. Now, once it is I equal to 0, it is being printed. I mean, it is satisfied. Now, it is going to this loop. Now, the j value here is 0, right? So, it is printing 0. Now, once it is printing 0, now it is going to another loop. That is nothing but again coming to here, I value is getting updated. So, it is 1. So, 1 is less than or equal to 5, it is less than 5. And again, j will also get updated according to this. So, it is still 1. So again, 1 is going to be printed. So this whole thing will do again and again and again and again, and the numbers will be printed. Okay. So you can try different patterns here. I recommend you to try this and doing different things. You'll get them differently. Okay. Now I want you to try something known as a Pascal triangle. Pascal triangle. You can see that Pascal triangle programs in Google before before directly searching for the answer. First try to first try to first try to do it on your own. First try to understand the what to do where and try to do the Pascal triangle. Now coming to the functions, the introduction about the functions. Right, introduction about the functions. Now the functions are of two types: predefined functions and user defined functions. Okay, now I'm not going to speak about the predefined functions. Let me tell you about the user defined functions. Okay, now I'm going to give you an example for the user defined function. The example is that I want to do an addition for two particular things. Okay, okay, let me take this, the operations file I have shown you yesterday. Now, write the operations file. Yeah, now here A, B, and D. Now the D number is okay. Now A modulo B. Now it will give me a remainder of 3. Now I want to do the same operation for a set of other numbers. Now again I should make the two constants. Now that is again my work. And again I should write another constant such that these operators again should be saved, and again I should print. So instead of writing again and again and again this whole thing, we are just going to define a function. Now function is that it will do addition, or it will do multiplication, or it will return me a remainder. See here the part is remainder. So that is nothing but a function. So function is nothing but there are different kinds of functions. Okay, so there are different kinds of functions. So to write the, I mean, there are library functions that we are going to learn tomorrow, and again user defined functions. Okay, now this function, now the function, we need to write a function definition. The function definition here consists of, in the easiest example given by me, it is an addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. So the function definition. Now we are going to write it in this way. Now whenever we want to print that statement, we are going to do a function call. Now there we are also going to do a function declaration. And that's it for today, guys. I'm going to give you a clarity about these one after the other. And the attendance form will be posted in the live chat again now. So try to fill the form for attendance. And tomorrow we are going to learn about the functions. And thank you, everyone. And Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Explain.